Good morning, namaskaram, and vanakkam to everyone. I'm Anjali Joshi, Chairman of Trustee Board, and on behalf of the Indian American Cultural Center, it is my privilege to welcome Shri Dushyanth Sridhar ji once again to our temple and bless us with his spiritual discourse. Dushyanth Sridhar ji requires no introduction. He is a Vedic speaker, writer, actor, director, entrepreneur, alumnus of BITS Pilani and alumnus alumnus of Indian Academy of Science, Bangalore. He is one of the most sought-after public speaker on Sanatan Dharma, who renders discourses in English and Tamil on Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavata, Vishnu Purana, Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Sahasranama, and Divya Prabandha. He delivers discourses interspersed with music as Harikatha and with dances as Katha. He has rendered over 3,000 discourses in 22 countries worldwide. He is liked by both the older population and the younger ones, as he is not only very articulate in English language, but also reinterprets our scriptures for the times we live in. Please join me in welcoming Dushyanth Sridhar once again before we settle down to listen and absorb his discourse today on Nava Vidha Bhakti. Namaskar.
Akhila bhuvana janmasthema bhangadilile Nava Vidha Bhakti rakshaikarikṣe Shruti shirasi vidite brahmani srinivase Bhavatu mama parasmin shemushi bhakti rupa Parasharya vajasudham sumanasah Dugdhabdi madhyodhritam Samsaragni vidipana vyapagata pranatma sanjeevanim Purvacharya surakshitam bahumatim Vyaghata durasthitam Anitam tu nijaksharaihi Sumanasah bhauma pibantvan vaham. Happy morning to all the Astikas who have gathered in this beautiful temple premises. I am indebted. At the same time, I feel privileged to be sitting in the sacrosanct premises of Sri Ram Parivar. The topic chosen for the day, after 4 years and 3 months I'm here. The topic chosen for the day is Nava Vidha Bhakti. So, there are two ways of interpreting the topic itself. One is Bhakti, which is of 9 types. Nava Vidha. Vidham is type and Nava is 9. So what are the 9 types or forms of Bhakti? One. Second is Nava in Sanskritam stands for modern or contemporary. That which is modern or contemporary is referred to as Nava. Navinam, we say. Pura api navam puranam. Why is Puranam called Puranam? Pura, that which is old. But just because it is old and ancient, it doesn't mean it has attained or reached its expiry date. It doesn't mean it is outdated. If you have the ability to interpret it as per the times in which you are living, then it is Pura, though ancient, yet contemporary. Api Navam Puranam. So Pura Api Navam Puranam. So Nava in Sanskritam stands for modern or contemporary. So the second way of interpreting Nava Vidha Bhakti is how modern or how contemporary or how new is this Bhakti. So these are the two ways of interpreting. Even before I get into delineating what is the content of this topic, I'm just taking a very rough census. How many of you speak the Bharatiya languages, which is Tamil. Okay. How many of you speak Telugu? How many of you speak Kannada? Not ability to speak, mother tongue. Many of you will be polyglots. How many of you speak Kannada? Okay. How many of you speak, your mother tongue is Malayalam? Okay, one. How many of you speak Marathi, Gujarati, Hindi? Okay. So have I missed any other major language here? Because I thought whatever the languages I hear, I will quote one or two lines from each of these languages. Because we are a beautiful spiritual potpourri. We are a medley of all these languages. So I thought when it is being presented as a melange, let us make it like a bouquet of all these languages, because in Bhakti, we don't see any geographical divide. Bhakti transitions itself beyond these divides. We go beyond to another sphere. So for me, the Alvar Pasuram in Tamil is as much important as what a bhajan of Meera is. The Devarnama of Purandaradasa is as important as a beautiful composition of Bhadrachala Ramadas in Telugu. So each language has its own beauty. Until we explore these languages, and the topic itself reads Bhakti today. So Bhakti is beyond all these languages. That said, where does this Bhakti, the Shabdam Bhakti, how should Bhakti be interpreted in the theological context, and how should it be interpreted in the philosophical context? Siddhantam, how does it interpret Bhakti? And Darshanam, how does it interpret Bhakti? So these are the ways that we need to check. Now if we look at, let's say, Bhakti Yoga, I'm sure many of you will be extremely indebted to Sri Krishna, and you'll all be versatile in Bhagavad Gita. I'm sure that WhatsApp message of that recent Avadhanam, which was done by the students in Dallas, where all children from various states got together and they recited Bhagavad Gita, is completely commendable. They do Avadhanam of it. I hope you all know what is Avadhanam. So if you tell the child, tell me the 12th verse of the 11th chapter, they'll be able to do. So that is Avadhanam. So the children of the US are really inspiring. So Srimad Bhagavad Gita is extremely beautiful. In that Krishna says, Svadharma Jnana Vairagya Sadhya Bhakti Eka Gocharaha Narayanaha Param Brahma Gita Shastre Samiritaha. Gita Shastre Samiritaha. In Gita Shastram, Krishna talks about Swadharma Jnana Vairagya Sadhya Bhakti Eka Gocharaha. He talks about Karma Yogam, Jnana Yogam, Bhakti Yogam, Vairagyam, Sharanagati, and so on. In that there is a mention of Bhakti Yoga. So the first 6 chapters, it's called as Prathama Shatkam in Bhagavad Gita, because you've got 3 sets of 6 chapters. Prathama Shatkam, Dvitiya Shatkam, Tritiya Shatkam, it is called. In the first Prathama Shatkam, he talks about Karma and Jnana Yogas. Chapter 7 to chapter 12, Krishna talks about Bhakti Yoga. Madhav Paradaram Nanyate Kinchidasti Dhananjaya Mai Sarvavidam Proktam Sutre Manigada Iva. So these are all verses that describe Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is different from Bhakti. Remember this very clearly. Mahabharatam has Bhishma Parva. In Bhishma Parva, on day 1, Arjuna poses questions and Krishna answers those questions. This compendium of questions and answers, which is Bhagavad Gita, talks about Bhakti Yoga. On the other hand, Vyasacharya's son Shuka Brahman answers the questions posed by Parikshit Maharaj. Those set of questions and answers becomes Bhagavatam. That Bhagavatam in its 7th canto called Saptama Skandam, Prahlada talks about Bhakti. That is Nava Vidha Bhakti. So Bhakti is different from Bhakti Yogam. First, do you know this, or you were under the impression that Bhakti Yoga is Bhakti? You should be honest. You must have thought Bhakti is Bhakti Yoga. Both are different. Bhakti is different, Bhakti Yoga is different. I'll tell you the difference and then we'll get into Nava Vidha Bhakti. Yoga Shabdam in Sanskrit means union. When two things get together, it is called yoga. That is why we say Yoga Vichedam. Yoga means coming together. But today, Yoga Shabdam means only one thing. What is that? Asanas. You do this, you do that, Kapalbhati, scratching this thing, standing in tortoise form, Matsya form, lifting the leg, sitting like a tortoise. That is asana. That is Yogasanam. But generally we refer to that as yoga. Ye yog ke teacher hai. Yog ke teacher does only asanas. Yog ke teacher doesn't do beyond that. Maximum they may say Turdal also these days. They do yoga and say Turdal also. So that is the yoga that we have learnt of today. But yoga means coming together. What comes together? When our mind gets in equilibrium with our asana, we get very close to Paramatma. That is yoga. In that yoga shabdam, which is union, Krishna talks about a vehicle, a sadhanam, a vehicle called as Bhakti Yoga. In Bhakti Yoga, there are two wheels. Imagine this is a two-wheeled vehicle, like those carts of those days, which are two wheels. So one wheel of this vehicle called Bhakti Yogam is called Karma Yogam. The other wheel is called Jnana Yogam. So Krishna says, Arjuna, travel to Paramatma, who is me, by sitting in the vehicle called Bhakti Yogam, for which one wheel is karma, one wheel is jnana. What is Karma Yogam? Krishna tells, do your duties well. But again, you have to be very careful. What Krishna means by duties is, just not, for example, I go sit and do my programming well. In my office, I do C++ programming, Python programming, or I am into market risk advisory or credit risk advisory. I have a dashboard and I do programming. That is one. I do it for my family. Second, he also says, do the duty what a Jivatma is supposed to do. What is the Jivatma supposed to do? Do Adhyayanam of the Shastras. Whoever is born should listen to the Shastric work. So he mentions that as karma, and then he segregates them as Nitya Karma, Naimitika Karma, Kamya Karma, and so on. That is Karma Yogam. As you keep doing the Karma Yogam, Krishna says little knowledge will dawn. Imagine a 2-3-year-old child. You are telling your child or grandchild, get up in the morning, brush your teeth. This is all you will say. The child will listen, take the brush and start brushing. Every day the child will do that religiously. Later when the child reaches class 1 or grade 1 or grade 2, the teacher will say, children, you know why we brush our teeth? No, ma'am. Because when we brush, we go up and down and the layer of the germs that have accumulated overnight goes. So that helps you keep your teeth clean. So the karma called brushing is taught to the child. Why the brushing is done, which is jnanam, comes later. So karma yogam and jnana yogam are two wheels. Both are important. That is why many people ask, sir, I am just doing the karma of reciting Vishnu Sahasranamam. I do not know its meaning. Correct. First you learn Vishnu Sahasranamam. Then you can learn the meaning. Because both cannot go together. When you want to learn the meaning, you won't have the grasping power to learn the Sahasranamam. So learn it. While mentioning of the Jnana Yoga, Krishna talks about something called Ashtanga Yoga. He says there are 8 steps, Arjuna, to meditate upon me. That is called Ashtanga Yoga, 8-part yoga. Yamam, Niyamam, Asanam, Pranayamam, Pratyaharam, Dharana, Dhyanam, Samadhi. I will ask this in the middle of the lecture.
Yeah, okay.
So, yamam, niyamam, asanam, pranayamam, pratyaharam, dharana, dhyanam, samadhi. Generally, the first 4 of the 8 are associated with our external factors. Krishna says through Patanjali Yoga Sutra, yamam, niyamam, you should not steal from others. Aparigraham. Aparigraham means you should not, somebody has earned hard and they have managed to live. Don't steal something from them. Aparigraham. Asteyam. Don't lie. These are all the general values that we have to follow. Brahmacharyam. Brahmacharya means that doesn't mean you should not have a married life. What he says is Brahmacharyam, have control. That is Brahmacharya. So then he says have control over food. Ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhihi sattva shuddhau dhruva smritihi. There are lots of sweets. I get tempted to those sweets, right? Have control over your tongue. Remember in what you speak. All these are values. Yamam, niyamam. Next comes asanam. Fold. These are all asanas. Some discipline in your life. Imagine 50 years before, when pravachana's used to happen in Bharata Desham, not one chair will be in the audience's seat. They will all be sitting. We can't even imagine. Now, even a 5th grade child wants to sit on the chair. The child cannot sit for 2 hours straight like this. We all go to gym. We lift stones. But we can't sit in this asanam. So Krishna tells asanam, yamam, niyamam, asanam. Then these are all ways that you discipline yourself. Yamam, niyamam, asanam, pranayamam. So Krishna tells only when you control the air that goes in and comes out, you will have a control in your life. So rechakam, kumbhakam, purakam it is called. So yamam, niyamam, asanam, pranayamam. Then the next 4. Pratyaharam, dharana, dhyanam, samadhi. Now Krishna says when your external values, your food, what you speak, everything is under control. Now start meditating inwards. Inwards, he says, keep your senses under control. This is all what Krishna says. Don't ask if I have control. I have neither practiced any of these 8. All half-baked. But control, what he says is even, you see, our concentration should be so high. Krishna says that if there is a bomb burst here, even then I should be unmoved, it seems, because I'm concentrating so much inside. See, sir, I saw one kitchen behind the Garbhagriha, correct? Suppose if they are going to make something out of ghee, I can smell it here. That means I have not reached the 5th stage. I should not sense that smell. That is pratyaharam, dharana, dhyanam. Krishna says, when you close your eyes, Arjuna, see, technically in Sanatana Dharma, meditation doesn't mean switching off the lights. All of you close your eyes. No. Krishna says when you close your eyes, it should be partially closed. The eyeballs should equally focus at the tip of your nose. And at the tip of your nose, you have to meditate upon me, Arjuna. That time I shall appear. And you should put your eyeballs in concentration to me. And in your mind, I shall start conversing with you. That is called Samadhi. These are the 8 steps, and together this is called Jnana Yogam. So Karma Yogam is one wheel, Jnana Yogam is the next wheel. The vehicle is called Bhakti Yogam. So Bhakti, when you say that word, letter Bha, the opposite person's t-shirt should get drenched. Bhakti Yogam. So in that Bhakti Yogam, Krishna says there are 3 levels. Parabhakti, Parajnana, Paramabhakti. 3 levels where you are attached to me, where you are extremely attached to me and know completely about me, and the final level where you can't remain separated from me. At that point in time, the Jivatma will exit the body. That is called Paramabhakti. This Parama Shabdam is very important in We all generally say one dhyana shlokam, Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat.
Parabrahma.
It is Param Brahma, not Parabrahma. Remember this, very careful. Parabrahma in Sanskritam, Para means unknown. So Parabrahma means nameless, addressless Brahma. Param Brahma means ultimate Brahma. So that Param is very important. Param Brahma. There it is Brahma, not Brahma again. Brahma means the deity. Brahmam means that which is big and makes the one reaches it big. Brahma is different from Brahma. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo, Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat, Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So this is a beautiful shloka to determine how the vibhaktis are used in Sanskritam. Let's get back here. So Krishna talks about Bhakti Yogam. Bhakti Yogam has two wheels, Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga talks about karmas. Jnana Yoga talks about Ashtanga Yoga. Bhakti Yoga has three steps, Parabhakti, Parajnana, Paramabhakti. This overall is called Bhakti Yoga. Let's keep this aside. But what is today's topic? Nava Vidha Bhakti. This is the bhakti that we all keep talking about. That we have to be subservient to the Lord, we have to serve the Lord, we have to serve the devotees, be good people. This is bhakti. This bhakti will not take us to the Lord. Remember, the bhakti will not take, उसका इतना भक्ति है, कितना पूजा पाठ करता है, पूजा पाठ करने से the जीवात्मा cannot reach Paramatma. It will aid in dhyana. Ultimately, the Sakshatkaram should come within. So this bhakti is like a catalyst in a chemical reaction. The catalyst will enhance the speed of the reaction. But that will not react with the reactant and form a product. So the bhakti that we are going to talk today will always help us become better individuals and help us practice bhakti yoga. So please don't confuse bhakti and bhakti yoga. That said, where does this Nava Vidha Bhakti feature? In Srimad Bhagavatam Saptama Skandam, we have Prahlada who goes to the ashram, the hermitage of his gurus Shanda and Amarka. So when he goes to that ashramam, the teachers are bent upon teaching the boy that his father is Parabrahma. But the boy says this is wrong syllabus. My father is not Parabrahman. He was created recently. One day he will die. And he is not being proven to be extremely useful to the society also. I don't see any something beneficial of his existence. So if at all you want to teach that my father is a big boon to the society, you are wrong. Fundamentally you are wrong. So the teachers then said, when you are not following the syllabus what we are teaching, it is better we give back you to your own father. Let him deal with you. So they go and give Prahlada back and say, he seems to be a good boy but not fit for our school. So maybe you can put him to some other magnet school. Maybe he is not fit for our level. He is beyond our caliber. So you take your child. That is when the father asks, he says, I have paid so much of fees to your school. You have studied there for 2 weeks. I want ROI. What have you learned in these 2 weeks? He is a perfect market person. If I have invested for 2 weeks, at least the stock value has to increase by some percentage. What is that value? That is when he asks, my dear son, in these 2 weeks that you studied with these two teachers, what did you study? The boy says, I learned Nava Vidha Bhakti Appa. Tande, nanu Nava Vidha Bhakti kaltidiki. I have studied Nava Vidha Bhakti. The teachers looked at each other. We never taught him this. This is out of syllabus. And he must have studied from Chat GPT. Okay, what have you learned? Yes. That is when the boy said, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishno Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam Iti Pumsar Vidar Vishnor Bhaktische Navalakshana Shravanam Kirtanam. My dear father, I have learned that there are 9 lakshanas. See, lakshanam in Sanskritam means that whose presence makes the existing object beautiful. See, generally there is a statement in Tamil, those of you who speak Tamil, Lakshanama irkada. Lakshanama irkada, we mean beauty. But Lakshanam doesn't determine beauty. See, some may say, so it is not the color also. That which brings the radiance in a person is Lakshana. But in Nyaya Shastram, there is another word for Lakshana. Lakshanam, Upalakshanam, these are all words that determine the inseparability of the attribute from the object. For example, I ask, which is Srinivasan's house? Which is Srinivasan's house? Now I can tell the right address. I can say number 131 Caterpillar Street, something I can say. Instead I am saying, Srinivasan's house is that house where Tesla car is standing outside. I can give that indication. But there is a problem in that Lakshana. I'll tell you why. If the Tesla car is driven, then I have to perennially search for Srinivasan's house. That is not an inseparable Lakshana. That is a separable one. Correct? So, Srinivasana, that is inseparable. Perennially he is born with that. Correct? So, inseparable attribute is Lakshana. What are the Navalakshanas? Prahlada says, Shravanam. What is the first thing we should acquire? Anybody, I am not talking only about the elderly folks. Your children, your grandchildren, your prospect children, your prospect grandchildren. What should they acquire? First attribute. Forget even bhakti. Even in school days, while even not even getting into school, first thing, which is Shravanam, listening. See, there is no skill equivalent to listening. Stephen Covey says, in the 7 habits of highly effective people, he writes the 4th habit, listen first to understand and then be understood. First listen. Nobody wants to listen. So Shravanam, keep listening. There is nothing equivalent to listening. That is why when some of the parents approach, at the end of the lecture and ask, sir, what should we teach? What should we inculcate in the children? Make them listen. See, if the child is quite adept in the Bharatiya languages, then make the child listen to the lectures in Bharatiya languages. But if the child is good in English, may not be that versatile in the Bharata-based languages, make the child listen to English lectures. Now you may wonder, sir, if the child listens to English lectures, do you think the child will understand? Are we understanding? So never underestimate a child's caliber. At times they will understand much better than what we can do. I have realized that in a few of these days, in the last 30-40 days in the US, 7 days I've been speaking in each of the cities continuously. When I give some of the toughest of the content and then ask questions from the same content 2 days later, the child answers. None of the elderly people answer. Children are very smart. So let them listen. Listening is an art. Shravanam. Who did this? Prahlada is the product of listening. While he was housed in his mother's womb, in Kayadhu's womb, Narada Maharshi used to give lectures every day. and as a fetus he listened. So listening doesn't begin when the child is born. When the child is unborn, it begins. Jayamanam hi purusham. Trust me. Puranam says, Jayamanam hi purusham yampashye madhusudanaha. Satvikaha satuvigneyaha savai mokshartha chintakaha. Puranam asks, who is that person who is blessed enough? To which the Puranam answers, the one who is blessed enough in Merrillville is the person who has listened to the glory of the Lord while they were in their mother's womb. Today, if each of you are listening and if I am speaking about bhakti, trust me, when each of us were in our mother's womb, our mother would have surely listened to Ramayana or Bhagavatam. That is why we are listening today. You know, we talk about different theories, one of it which is called as the butterfly effect. Right? Because our mothers listened to Ramayana and Bhagavatam, today at a different year we are listening today. We think it's just a happenstance. No. Because our mothers listened today, we are listening. Shravanam. Prahlada is a beautiful product of Shravanam. Keep listening. Listening is important. But listening alone cannot suffice. What should we do? As we listen, like Prahlada listened, but we should do kirtanam of it. Kirtanam is what you listen and say it out. See, there is nothing equivalent to opening your mouth and chanting except mantra. Mantra rakshana gudhatma karya siddhim prakashayet is a shlokam. Mantra, जो भी मंत्र है, वो जो मंत्र है उसको हमें कंठस्थ नहीं बोलना है. माने कि हम मुंह ओपन करके नहीं बोल सकते हैं, खुले मुंह में नहीं बोल सकते हैं मंत्र. जैसे गायत्री मंत्र है. Gayatri mantram should not be recited in the public. It should not be, we should not even open. If I say this, people will be surprised. ये क्या है? अनुराधा पौडवाल जी गाए हैं, शंकर महादेवन जी गाए हैं, हरिहरन जी दो राग में गाए हैं. वो गाएंगे, मैं क्या करूं? But Shastram says mantram should not be cited. Even you should not open your mouth. Mantram alone. This is how you should say it. Because the moment pranavam comes, pranavam is omkaram. When the moment pranavam comes, it becomes Vedam. And the moment you have aksharam, for Om iti vyahared, Nama iti paschad, Narayanayetu varishtad, Om ityeka aksharam, Nama iti dve akshare, Narayanayetu vancha aksharani, says Upanishad. So pranavam is ekaksharam. Namaha dve akshare, Narayanaya iti panchaksharani, eka dve pancha, ashtaksharam it is called. Or Pranavaha, Pranavam, Namaha, Bhagavata Shabdam, Vasudeva Shabdam, Aya Shabdam, Dvadashakshari it is called. You should not open your mouth and say. You should get Upadesham and recite it in your mind. Baki Shlok, you can say it aloud. Whatever you get, you can say it aloud. Even in Vishnu Sahasranamam, when you are saying it loudly, right? Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam, it is called Purvangam, the first part. Towards the end, you get Surah Govindar Chitram Ram Ramyatetam Trubhavanavabhusham Vishnu Isham Namami Shantakaram Bhujagashainam, that Dvadashaksharam comes, right? That time you have to do it in your mind. And then come. You should not tell that aloud. This is the rule. Now you may ask, what if I break that rule? You can always counter me. See, ours is an open civilization. You have the right to question. That much you have the right. Whether we get the answer or not, you are allowed to question. Your head will still be attached to your body. So nothing will happen to you. You have the right to question. But mantra should not be recited in the public. Everything else can be recited. Kirtanam. Kirtanam means singing the glory of the Lord. There are various ways to sing the glory of the Lord. If you don't know what music, you don't have to force yourself to sing. You can just recite. So whatever you know, you can cite. You can cite or sing based on your voice caliber. But Kirtanam is important. That is why this Bhakti movement was very important in Bharata Desha. Jayadeva was a pioneer in this Bhakti movement. Chandana Charchita Neelakale Barabita Vasana Vanamali. He sings in Ashtapadi. Harismarane Mado Nirantara Paragati ke Giru Nirdhara Harismarane. This is Devarnama. Adigo Bhadradri Gautami Idigo Chudandi. Bhadrachala Ramadasa's Kirtanam. So they were all pioneers in Bhakti. So Shravanam, listen. What you listen, sing. But there is a problem here. If you say something, I listen. Immediately I sing. The third most important attribute is to remember. That is the problem. Many say, sir, I listened to so many lectures. Itna acha hai, sir. बोल भी नहीं सकता हूँ, इतना अच्छा है वो जो विषय है ना, इतना गांभीर्य है उसमें, सुनने में इतना अच्छा लगता है, लेकिन याद नहीं रखता है सर, क्या करें? Right? People have this problem. We listen so much, but we are not able to remember. That is why ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhihi sattva shuddhau dhruva smritihi. Your food also is a determining factor in what you remember. Now we may say, sir, we have all the data in iPad, why should we remember? Correct. Now we don't have to remember anything. Address is there in the phone. You put that to GPS, GPS will tell you the way. I'm sure those of you who have lived in the US for 30 plus years, anybody 30 plus years here? So 30 years back, imagine, you had no GPS. So if you have to reach point B from point A, you would first sit with the map, write down the way, then 2-3 times you will remember, take an exit here, go in 401, from 401 take east. You will remember that also. You don't have to remember now because that auntie comes with us. Vaikuntha Lokamani Mantapa Margadari. Right, she tells, go straight, take right, take left. She is required even to Vaikuntham. Because the Jivatma has to be guided to Vaikuntham. Then how will you know? Vihaya Sagadihi Jyotihi Suruchikuta Bhukvibuhu Ravihi Virochanaha Suryaha Savita Ravirochanaha Sesasmanava. How will the Jivatma know that it has to cross so many worlds? So that madam has to come there also. So, this guidance, you don't have to remember anything today. Trust me, you don't have to remember anything. But that's the biggest curse that we have. I'm not saying technology is bad. We are recipients of good technology. But we are doing it at the cost of our own memory. No phone number we have to remember. Address you don't have to remember. Email ID you don't have to remember. Even the spelling, see Google knows that we are very weak in spellings. So if you type something, it will ask, did you mean this? Have you noticed that? It will ask. Or it will give through search engine optimization. The moment you type how to, then it will give you a list of questions. You don't even have to remember the question, forget the answer. So we have reached that stage where our brain has no work to do. That is why, there are many cases, if you see, case after case I remember in my own vicinity, in my own family, dementia. Then the doctor, if you go there, they'll say, start with Sudoku, keep putting those numbers, keep putting this. Instead, we could have recited the shlokas. That is why make it a point. Forget way, roots, and all of that. Let the modern technology take care. Every day, make it an exercise. One shloka you have to memorize. Just one shloka. Just 2 lines. Anushtup Chandas. Don't even take a Sadhara, Malini, Mandakranta Chandas. They are all 4 lines. Big shlokas. 2 lines. Make it a point. Today I have to memorize 2 lines. By the end of the day you should have memorized. So you are giving some useful work to the brain. That is very important. So the third part of bhakti is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. But here Prahlada is very careful. He says, Vishnoho Smaranam. Whom should you remember? Because I can remember the recipe given by that Undhiyo. Undhiyo, you know, the beautiful dish. Undhiyo. I know Undhiyo recipe also. That also I can remember. But what is the use? When we go to Vaikuntham, what do you remember? Undhiyo recipe. So, remembering should also be. That is why Prahlada is very careful. He says, Vishnu Smarana. He knows our mentality. So we say, yes, even I remember, people say Virat Kohli in the match in 2018 hit 138 runs. What is the use? Virat Kohli has earned and settled with Anushka and Bhumika. What is our use? He has hit 138 runs. Is any of our benefit, is it beneficial to us? So remember what is relevant for your Atma Shreyas. Determine this. Atma Shreyas comes from good mind. Good mind comes from thinking of the Lord. Thinking of the Lord comes from shlokas. Remembering the shlokas and thinking of the Lord's attributes and then cleansing your mind helps in your Atma. Remembering he hit 138 runs is not benefiting me. So you should learn the art of choosing what to remember and what not to remember. See, our mind is actually the trash. So it will remember all unwanted things. You just go home and check what all you remember. You will remember one fight that you had with a cousin 20 years back, what that person said. Today I spoke of Ashtanga Yoga. Check when you go home whether you can tell all the angas of Ashtanga Yoga clearly. It is not because age is a factor in not remembering, because we are subconsciously telling our mind this is not important, don't remember. That is why we are not remembering. Age has nothing to do. So Vishnu Smaranam, think of the Lord. Smaranam. See, the greatness of Bhishmacharya is Bhishma was the overlived person during the Mahabharata times, because Bhishma, he has seen his father Shantanu. He has seen his brothers Vichitravirya and very good Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. He has seen Vichitravirya's sons, which is exactly biological sons of Vyasa, called as Dhritarashtra, Pandu and Vidura. He has seen Dhritarashtra and Pandu's sons called the Dhartarashtra's 100, Yuyutsu, Dushala and the sons of Pandu, the Pandavas. He has seen Pandu's children, the Pandavas. He has seen Arjuna and Bhima's son, Ghatotkacha and Abhimanyu. So he has seen so many generations. Such an overlived man. He is known every bit of history in Hastinapura. He knew everything. But one mistake what Bhishmacharya is accorded to in the Mahabharata times is when that lady, she was menstruating, she was bleeding, she was pleading for help. When Draupadi asked, Bhishma could have immediately risen from his seat and hit Duryodhana. Nobody would have questioned him. That time somehow Bhishma dilly-dallied. He said, no, as per clause 34b and 54f, the wife is a possession of the husband, he said. He didn't come to the rescue of Draupadi. That is why Krishna makes it a point. When you are my bhakta, you should have helped her. Rather, you started quoting rules. So that is why Bhishmacharya was laid to rest on the bed of Pharaohs. Sharadalpagato Bhishma. When all that blood got drained, all that remained was some skeleton and a thin layer of skin up, over and below. He recited Vishnu Sahasranamam and Krishna went back to Dwaraka. Krishna was playing dice. Pashyantishu shrutishu paritaha suri vrindenna sardham madhye kritya triguna phalakam nirmitaha sthana bhedam vishwadishaha pranayini sada vibrama dyuta vrittaha. Dyuta vrittam means gambling. So while Krishna was playing gambling with Rukmini, he started shedding tears. Krishna, Rukmini said, generally you make others shed tears. Why are you shedding tears? That is when he says, Sharadalpa Gato Bhishmaha. Bhishma's Jivatma is going to leave his body. Now he is thinking of me. Smaranam. Imagine in that state. Just imagine your modern day thing I'm telling. A person is on ventilator. ICCU, I don't know what you call it here. There may be a different name. ICCU. That person is in a ventilator. Tough. Everywhere there is IV given. There is not a single place in the body where there is not a needle prick. People are very, very less hopeful of the person's survival. Pain throughout the body. That time the person manages to think of the Lord. See, now what we are thinking, I am thinking of the Lord is not great. I am hale and healthy and thinking of the Lord. Vishnoho Smaranam Bhishmacharya is a classic example of how bhakti can get so mature and divine. Even in that last crucial, critical minute and moment, he can think of the Lord. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho Smaranam. So as I keep telling these names, in your subconscious mind, you should also repeat. Then only you will remember. Vishnoho Smaranam. Fourth, Pada Sevanam. This is the next Lakshanam of Bhakti. See, the modern world, the woke, Vokeshwara, Vokanayaka, the woke world will think, why should one human being fall at the other person's feet? Imagine it, Bharatiya civilization. If a person is elder to us by age, knowledge, we immediately prostrate at that feet. The Western civilization may not acknowledge it. Why? Why should we fall? It is very tough to explain. There is no compending rule that you have to fall. But that respect comes with us and we immediately fall at the person's feet. Not to say that the person opposite me is Brahma and he has created the world. He may be a few years elder to me. But we fall at the person's feet. Pada Sevanam. Remember? In Rajasuya Yajnam performed by Yudhishthira, each of them was given a responsibility. See, generally when we have a family function, we all say, what should I do? Nani en madbekanta heli so. Na enna pananam. Varamadala vaangonjurutuma. Ille yaru varadave ille. Vandadane vaangonjurutuma. Naangale 4 pere panni kudichirudha irukom. யாரையுமே கூப்பிடல, நான் கூட்டவா யாரும் வரல, கூப்பிடுற மாதிரி நான் வச்சுக்கவும் இல்லை. So we generally ask amongst our friends and families, how can I serve you in the marriage? They will give us some duty. You do this, you do that. When the Rajasuya Yajnam of Indraprastha happened, Krishna, who is the king of Dwaraka, biggest army they had he lived now during the time, Zelensky would have asked his help. So that big an army he had. Krishna said, I want to take up one duty. That is when Yudhishthira said, Krishna, you please enjoy. Come and stay in Indraprastha. We have arranged a good presidential suite for you. Jo bhi chahiye. Whatever cuisine you want, we will arrange for that. Don't take this. Krishna said, no. Whoever is a scholar who comes to your house for that housewarming, I want to wash their feet. This comes in Mahabharata. Check. In Sabha Parva, Krishna tells, I will do Pada Sevanam. Krishna was the king of Dwaraka. Why did he do? However great you are, be subservient to knowledgeable people. When you do service to knowledgeable people, they will get impressed with you and they will teach you 1 or 2 things that will last in your life forever. See, everything that is required for life will not come from our university courses. They may teach you certain courses, but how to live that life, that will come through experience. Tadvidhi pranipadena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha, says Krishna. See, I remember many of my acharyas, they used to do service to their acharyas. In the mid of the night, if the acharya has to perform a particular kriya, they would go near the well and the student would come and fetch waters from the well and give it to the acharya. And the teacher will be so impressed with the student, he will say, see, in Ramayanam, there is one place, my dear student, remember this. In Aranya Kandam, this thing comes. They will tell. That may not be there in the book at all, in the published books. But the teacher will say, that knowledge will last. When the teacher is impressed with our bhakti and tells something, right, that will stay with us forever. So our behavior should be so conducive enough that the teacher is able to bestow that knowledge on us. That will come only through service. Like how Krishna washed the feet of every Bhagavatottama who came to Indraprastha. Pada Sevanam. I am sure some of you may have heard this. In the traditional mathas, there is something given to the student called as Shri Pada Tirtham. Have you heard of this? Shri Pada Tirtham is given and then that water is used to wash. It is called Acharya Shri Pada Tirtham, means water that has come from the Acharya's feet. The moment we say this, some movie director will take it and put it in their movie. And they will portray it wrongly. What they will do is, they'll keep one plate. The teacher will keep both the feet. They will wash that feet well and then they'll take that water. That is not Shri Pada Tirtham. That will be very dirty. So, what is Shri Pada Tirtham? The moment the teacher comes after bathing, the moment he steps out, his right foot will be kept over a patra. Water drops will pass through the first toe. That water is sprinkled, that's all. Entire feet you wash, there will be a lot of dirt. So that is why the movie directors should patiently listen to lectures. Hence all these wrong interpretations will come. Shri Pada Tirtham, Pada Sevanam, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. The fifth one, beautiful one, Archanam. Archanam comes as a duty where you venerate the Lord. You sing praises of the Lord. जब हम कोई किसी के घर जाते हैं, तो तुरंत बोलते हैं, बहुत खुशी हुई आपसे मिलके. I'm very happy I've come to your house. Such a beautiful house you have. Oh, these are your children, very nice. However those children are, you have to say, it's so good to move. That is why the parents will say, oh, you're just seeing them for today, so they are good. That is why husband and wife keep having fights. First day when they meet, they will be very pleasing to each other. Can we talk? Then it will become we need to talk. So they will keep talking. So when you move with the person, you will understand the true character. But generally when you go to a house, you say some nice flowery things about that person and that house. Similarly, when you come to a temple, a sacrosanct premises, and you have to sing praises of the Archa Vigraham. See, when the Lord is stationed in one place, in Agamam that is called Archa. Archa means stationed in one place. Whereas when the same Ram was in Vibhava Avatar means when he lived. He was not stationed in one place. He brushed, he ate, he married Sita, he went to the forest, fought with the demons, came back. He acted like any other human. Whereas now in the Archa Vigraham, he is stationed Adhikaraya, Shuddhaya, Nityaya. He won't move from this place of Merrillville. He is very much attached to India now. He won't move anywhere. In this Archa Vigraham, we are coming to his house. We have to sing praises about him. How do we sing praises? For that, we should know Ramayanam well. We know Ramayanam, but that well cannot be added. Sai pata hai, we know that Ram married Sita, Sita married Ram, there were some problems in their life, they sorted it out. This is all we know. That is when our acharyas come to our rescue. They say, I know your limitations. They are looking at us and telling, I know your limitations. So I will design and compose Archana, which is his praises. You just have to repeat them. So how do we sing praises? Oh, the one who has measured the worlds. Oh, the one who is very affectionate to devotees like Prahlada. Oh, the one who rescued Mother Earth from Hiranyaksha. Oh, the one who is very accessible to his devotees. Oh, the one who has got beautiful eyes. Oh, the one who has got a champaka flower-like nose. Oh, the one who has got lips as red as the coral paste. Oh, the one who has got a neck that is as beautiful as a conch. Oh, the one that has got a broad chest that is resplendent with a gem called Kaustuba. Oh, the one who has got a thin hip and a beautiful gem like Nabhi or navel. Oh, the one whose thighs are covered in yellow silk. Oh, the one who has got feet that are as soft as the lotus of the newly blossomed lotus. Now we do Archana. That is why our Acharyas have made ready-made Archanas. Trivikramaya Namaha, Vamanaya Namaha, Sridharaya Namaha, Rishikeshaya Namaha, Padmanabhaya Namaha, Damodaraya Namaha, Prahlada Varadaya Namaha, Saulabhyarupaya Namaha, Saushilyatmane Namaha, Audarya Gunavattaya Namaha, Audambaraya Namaha, Sthira Bharyaya Namaha, Mahaviraya Namaha, Sthira Pujyaya Namaha, Bhavakrute Namaha, Punyakrute Namaha, Sakshine Namaha, Ajayaya Namaha, Jayaya Namaha, Gunabhadraya Namaha, Mahabhadraya Namaha, Subhadraya Namaha. So these Archana will help us. We are outsourcing our puja through Archana. You are able to get, because we have to sing praises, we don't know to sing praises. So we are borrowing that Archana and we are giving it to the priest. Sir, on my behalf, you please say some nice things to the Lord. So what should we do? When we are outsourcing, we should patiently listen. Do we do that? We have paid $5. Ho gaya, job. So that priest will keep doing, we can do whatever we want. That is not Archana. We have to patiently listen when the priest is doing. That is like honoring. Archanam. You have to sing praises. Archanam. Dasyam. Okay. Next step. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam. After Archanam, Dasyam. To be subservient to the Lord. You have to think that the Lord is Paramatma and Jivatma. I am subservient to Him. Again, the Western world will ask, everybody is independent. Why should we think we are subservient to the Lord? There will be some few Vokeshwaras, they will ask that. Why should we be subservient to the Lord? We are, first of all, not independent. Remember this. Getting a professional degree and telling that I am earning every month, financial independence is not overall independence. Just in the last 6 months, there are many IT companies in the West Coast which have laid off thousands of employees. People who said I am independent, what will they do the next day? So we are dependent on people around us. What is the harm in saying that I am subservient to the Lord? मैं भगवान का दास हूँ. For example, there is the Shabdam, Dasa Shabdam. Dasa Shabdam and Dasi Shabdam. In Sanskritam, if I say Dasosmi, means I am subservient to the Lord. How will a woman say that she is subservient to the Lord? Dasosmi is what men will say. Women should say Dasasmi. So men will say Dasosmi. Women should say Dasasmi, because that Dasi plus Asmi will become Dasa. So that is the Sanskritam grammar. For example, we say Dhirga Sumangali Bhava. Have you heard of this? Dhirga Sumangali Bhava. This is 100% wrong in Sanskritam. It is Dirgha Sumangala Bhava. Sumangali. That Ikara on the Shabdam cannot come in Sanskritam when you add Dirgha. Who follows grammar? Right? Nobody wants to follow grammar. Because in Ranga Rao's movie in 1963, N.T. Rama Rao said Dirgha Sumangali Bhava. Is N.T. Rama Rao Panini? It is Dirgha Sumangala Bhava. There is this, what is that? Dirgha Ayushman Bhava. You cannot add Dirgha and Man together. It is two positives. Ayushman Bhava is the correct thing. Dirgha. See, unnecessarily you should not add words and make it complicated wrong. Ayushman Bhava. And Dirgha Sumangala Bhava. Sumangala, not Sumangala. See, in Prachina Sanskritam there is no La. In Malayalathil unda La anale. A La Sanskridathil illa. There is no La. It is only La. Dirgha Sumangala. La. Later Sanskrit poets, they imported La from the other languages. Traditional Sanskritam had no La. So, Dirgha Sumangala Bhava. This is how you should say. Now, let's come back to this one. Dasya. I am subservient to the Lord. That is why Vibhishana, he tried advising his brother, my dear brother, you have abducted somebody else's wife, that too from a foreign country. Then you will be tried in the International Court of Justice. And imagine, any one of the subjects does a mistake, the king has the right to question that person. If the king himself is characterless, then who will question the king? So don't do this, don't get caught in Me Too. Okay? So, you don't misbehave with Sita. That is when Ravana admonishes his own brother. He says, who are you to question? I am Ravana, Vimshadbhujam, Dashagrivam, Sarvalakshana Lakshitam, Vishalavakshasam Veeram, Ravanam Devarupinam. I am Ravana and you are questioning me. I do what I wish. That is when Vibhishana said, when you have closed your ears to good advice and you are doing something which is not adhering to dharma, and if I still stay in Lanka, it means I will have to partake in that adharma. I cannot stay here anymore. I know I am at a weak position now. I will leave this country immediately. He leaves Lanka. Tyaktva putra dharamscha. He left his wife, children, property, everything, and he went to Bharatadesha. Till then, Citizen Amendment Act was not implemented. He had come from the neighboring country. Whether to take him or not, that was $1 million question. That is when Sugriva goes and tells Rama, sir, should we take him or not? He comes from a foreign country. He might come to divide and rule like East India Company. So what should we do? That is when Rama says, he has come seeking Sharanagati. There is a rule in Sharanagati. Remember this. Mahabharatam states, and so does Agamam. If someone wholeheartedly they say, I surrender to you, please forgive me, you have to forgive them. No, if you have done a mistake, I will never forgive, then you are bound for Maranam, says Shastra. If someone says sorry, you have to forgive. That is what Sharanagati Dharma is. So Rama says, I will accept him. Why? Because he is Dasa, Dasatvam. Ramachandrasya dasokam Shri Sita Nayakasya Guru Hahitasya Ramachandrasya dasokam. I have to be subservient. The same bhakti what Hanuman showcased to Rama. See, Hanuman is of Vanara category. Yeah, Hanuman is there. Rama is Nara category. Hanuman is a celibate. He studied in a boys only school. Rama studied in a co-ed school. Hanuman had vowed not to marry. Rama was married. Rama's wife was kidnapped. Had it been me, I would have said, it's his problem. Right? But Hanuman goes in search of Sita. Imagine Hanuman's state. First of all, he is not searching in a known territory. See, in our own house where we have lived for 13 years, we will search for the car key. We won't get it. Then finally 2-3 people will search. It will be the same place where we keep every day. In a known place you are searching and you are not getting. Hanuman is going to an unknown territory, new country, meeting a lady of a different community. She is not a Vanara Jati, she is a Narajati woman. He has never seen her. See, that is a bigger problem. If you have to go search for a person, you need that person's photo. Sita had locked her FB profile. So Hanuman cannot see her profile photo also. So how did he go? See, will you even take up this task? See, you are getting a client proposal. There is an RFP, RFQ. They have to give you requirements, then you will give. Then you will tell whether I can do this project in these many days. Rama is the person who is giving the client to the vendor. The vendor here is Hanuman. Hanuman is the one who accepts this project. He has not seen Sita. Sita is in an unknown country. She belongs to a different jati. But Hanuman takes it up as his task. That is Hanuman's greatness. See, nobody could have done what Hanuman did. First of all, easily they would have got caught by Ravana. Or they would have spotted some other lady as Sita. We will come and tell, Rama, I saw Sita. Ayu, that is not Sita, that is Gita. All the indications. Ingu oru mancham irundhude Rama. Ayu, adu Sitaikku onnu utta thangenna. Adu Gita. So Hanuman has to go back. So Hanuman was perfect in spotting Sita. How? Because Dasatvam will give you that knowledge. You know how Hanuman spotted Sita? First, if you look at Sundarakanda, because everybody does Sundarkand part. Sundarkand part is not only reciting, understanding Hanuman's intelligence. Hanuman first thought Ravana's wife as Sita. He mistook. Asphodayamasa chuchumba pucham nananda chikrida jagau jagama Stambhanaroham nipapata bhumau nidarshayam swam prakritim kapina. He showed the quality, nature of a monkey. Nidarshayam swam prakritim kapina. Prakriti is nature. Kapina is monkey. Monkey's nature. Why? He kissed his tail, he went up the pillar, came down. Why? He thought Ravana's wife Mandodari. She is Manda Udari. Udaram means stomach. Manda Udaram means thin stomach. So it's not Mandodari, it's Mandodari. So he mistook Mandodari to be Sita. Then he researches, see, life is always not about taking decisions, but to think whether the decisions that we have taken have been right or wrong. You have to revisit your decisions. So Hanuman thought, I concluded this is Sita. But this cannot be Sita. Why? Why will Rama's wife be sleeping so happily next to Ravana? The way she was sleeping determined that this could not be Sita. Oh, what a fool I am. Then he goes in search of Sita. He goes everywhere and finally sits on Shimshupa Vriksham and sees Sita. That is where Hanuman's intelligence comes. Why does this intelligence dawn upon him? Because of Dasa Svabhavam. When you're truly, honestly, sincerely, justfully subservient to the Lord, subservience will grant a knowledge. That bhakti will grant you knowledge. How did he find this is Sita? See, Sita, when she had left Ayodhya, what dress did she wear? What did she wear throughout the forest? She wore some dress. What dress? Forest dress she wore, is what we are told. Right, when Arun Govil went in, that Ramayana, his wife wore wrong. She tried wearing the dress that is meant for the forest dwellers. It's called Valkalam, made from the bark of trees. But in the same Srimad Valmiki Ramayanam, for us, Moola Grantham, Adi Kavyam is Valmiki Ramayanam. Valmiki states in Ayodhya Kandam, when she tried wearing it, Dasharatha says, this wretched lady called Kaikeyi has sent my son on an exile. My daughter-in-law should not suffer. Lakshmana, for her stay of 14 years, whatever silk saris and jewellery is required, take them with you. Sita in her 14 years did not wear Valkalam. She wore silk saris and jewellery. सर ऐसा नहीं दिखाते हैं क्योंकि दिखाने वाले लोग थोड़ी तो रामायण सुनते हैं. उनका राय ये है कि मैं अशोक बैकर पढ़ के बनाऊं, अमीश त्रिपाठी करके मूवी बनाऊं, ये थोड़ी तो वाल्मीकि का इज्जत करते हैं. वाल्मीकि रामायण में बताया गया है, अयोध्या कांड में जब सीता वल्कल धारण करने वाली थी, तब उनके जो श्वशुर हैं, तो उन्होंने बोला कि मेरी जो बहू है वो वन जाने के बाद भी वो she has to be draped in silk. So she carried different asankhya. There is a shabdam in Ramayana. Father-in-law says, let her not repeat. So Lakshmana had a huge luggage. He was the first porter. He carried all the dress. So Paithani, Benares brocade, Ikat, Sambalpuri, Maheshwari, Tribhuvanam, Arani, Darasuram, Mangalagiri, Venkatagiri, Pochampalli, Mysore, KSIC, Patola, Moga, Moga silk, Assam, Mamikdiri. So Moga silk, everything, all the silk with jewellery, terracotta, ethnic, everything was taken. On the day Sita was kidnapped, what dress did she wear? Because in kidnapping, the last dress is very important. Sita was wearing a silk with two jaris. It is called rettapet. It had Hamsam border. Remember this. Vedanta Deshika says this in Hamsa Sandesham. Tattakulam kamurtau tanmanjira pratamaningade yasya nishpanda drishtihi. It has Hamsa bird motif. When she was kidnapped, she tore her pallu and put some jewellery and threw on Hanuman and the other monkeys. So they retrieved that piece of cloth. When he saw Sita under Shimshupa Vriksham, that torn part was not there, the remaining sari was there, and it had the same border what they had got. That is knowledge. See, you have to remember what you have seen. That we won't remember. That is why Rama did not send us. Had he sent us, Sita would have still been housed in Lanka. We would have kept searching for Sita. Hanuman, that is why in Ramayana, if you check the line, go check Ramayana. Tarkayamasa Siteti is Hanuman's shlokam. Through logic, he concludes this must be Sita. In that logic word, the sari is an important thing. Second, Ekastha Hridayanunam Rameva Anupashyati. She was looking at one direction, presuming that Rama is in that direction with tears flowing down her cheeks. So Hanuman concluded, this lady seems to be crying. So this also could determine this is Sita. Why did that knowledge come to Hanuman? Not because he was Pavan Putra Hanuman, Surya Sishya Hanuman. Because he had offered bhakti to Rama. Rama bhakti will give that knowledge. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam. Next is Vandanam, then Dasyam. This Vandanam I had left. What is Vandanam? Vandanam generally means offering your salutations. Putting your palms together is Vandanam. Vandan karo, this is Vandanam. In Natya Shastram, this is called Anjali Mudra. Have you heard of this mudra? Oriyeli, Rendali, Moonali, Nalali? Anjali. You have heard of this Anjali Mudra? Why is it called Anjali? There is a beautiful explanation. Listen to this. Jalayati iti Anjali. Why is the word in Sanskrit called Anjali? Jalayati. Suppose I am standing opposite a person. I am putting my palms together. Sir, please forgive me. I am putting these palms together. You know, they say, haath jodo, right? Put your palms together. When I say forgive me, the opposite person will feel very bad, it seems. ये हाथ जोड़ रहा है मेरे सामने, तो उसको दुख आ जाएगा. Why is he doing this? So the opposite person will start shedding tears. That tear is water, jalam. Since my mudra makes the opposite person shed tears, this mudra is called Anjali. You're able to understand the meaning? Jalayati, I am not shedding tears. The way I put my palms, the opposite person will start shedding tears. So it is called Anjali. That is why they say before God you put your palms together, God will start shedding tears. Arey, ye kaisa hai? Jalayati Anjalim Paramamudra Kshipram Deva Prasadini, says Vedanta Deshika. It will immediately, that is why whoever, WhatsApp, who acquired WhatsApp? Facebook acquired WhatsApp. So there you get those emoticons. Have you checked that? Sirigrama, you get those, the big circle with that smile. You have seen all that?
Yeah.
In that there is one Anjali Mudra. Have you seen?
Yes.
The moment you put thanks, immediately that will pull that and you can put that. Many people. Now in the last 4 years, everybody has learned Sharanagati. Everybody for this thing. Thanks. Please come to the discourse, they'll put this, which means I won't come. So, Anjali Mudra, where do we know the scene? Narakasura ruled a place called Pragjyotishapuram. Pragjyotishapuram, some of them say it is current day Assam. And some say it is Thailand. So after winning over Narakasura, Krishna establishes the rule of law in that country. Narakasura's son, Bhagadatta, he goes westward. So Bhagadatta settles in a city with his tribe. Later that became Bhagadatta wood Baghdad. We call that word right, Baghdad. Bhagadatta's tribe settled there. So this Bhagadatta was an important ally of Duryodhana. So in that Mahabharata Yuddham, Bhagadatta comes with his army and fights the Pandavas. At one point in time, Bhagadatta releases an astram called Narayanastram. I'll tell you how Dhanur Vidya works. In those days, if they release an astram, they will invoke a devata. They will invoke Agni, it will be called Agni Astram. They will invoke Varuna Deva, it will be called Varuna Astram. They will invoke Gandharva, it is Gandharva Astram. They have to invoke a devata. But while invoking that devata, they will not tell the opposite person, Abhi, main Agni Devata ka ahwan karta hu. थोड़ी तो ऐसे ही बोलेगा. He won't tell. And they will be at least 700, 800 meters away. Two fighting people will be that far. In our old movies, they will be only 10 feet away. And that time in Telugu movies, you know, this Ranga Rao will come and start singing on that battlefield. Oh Rama Mikvindu Gavala. He'll be singing in Kedara Gaula on the battlefield. Will you go? Ukraine war being fought. Whoa, Zelensky. Whoa. Will you sing? But Ranga Rao will sing 63 songs. Gandashala will sing. Kedara Gaula, Mohanam, Neelambari. Then finally they will release that astram. And that person will be standing here. But that arrow will go for 5 minutes. But technically, Yuddham didn't happen like this. They will be 700, 800 meters away. Less than a kilometer. They will be far. And while releasing that astram, the person will not say, I am releasing Agneya astram. Then how will the other person know what astram is releasing? That is when eyesight was very important. See, we have heard of Arjuna saying that I can see that eye of that bird, that eyesight. See, even today if you have to become a pilot, if your eyesight is not great, you cannot become a pilot. Eyesight is very important. Eyesight and how you mind read and lip read. See, you have heard of those contests where they will just show some lip movements. You have to tell what they are speaking. So if the person invokes Agneya Astram, he will invoke Agni. So the eyesight should be so good. From that distance you should see what Devata is invoking. And after, if he is invoking Agni Devata, you have to send Varuna Devata. When there is fire, water has to come. So your eyesight has to be good, your lip reading has to be good, then you should know that mantra and then send it at the correct time. So Dhanur Vidya was a big challenge. That is why only few people emerged victorious in that. So this Bhagadatta released an astram called Narayana Astram. See, remember, for every astram there will be a Pratyastram. Pratyastram means opposite astram. You can always counter it. When Narayana Astram was invoked, Arjuna got worried. He said, Krishna, Bhagadatta has invoked Narayana Astram. I left that for choice in my syllabus. I didn't learn that. What is the Pratyastram for Narayana Astram? I have to put that now. There should be a Prati. That is when Krishna sat. He said, hey Arjuna, I made a grave mistake by telling you Bhagavad Gita. Had I told to the Astikas of Merrillville, they would have done a better job. Arjuna asked, why? Kyun aise baat kar rahe hain, Kanhaiya? Krishna said, throughout the Bhagavad Gita I have said one thing. There is no one equivalent to me. Vasudeva samo devaha na bhuto na bhavishyati. No one who is equivalent to me. Only if Narayana has an equivalent, will the Narayana Astram have an equivalent? When there is no one equivalent to me, how will my Astram have an equivalent to me? Then Krishna, what should I do? Whatever is my Pratyastram is the same Pratyastram for Narayana Astram. What is your Pratyastram, Krishna? Put your palms together and surrender to me. So, as soon as Krishna said, Arjuna left all his astrams, Gandivam, he went to the battlefield, he fell on the ground and prostrated before that astram and said, sorry, please forgive me. That astram went back. So, Anjali Mudra can do this wonder. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam. How many over 7? 2 more left. Sakhyam Atmanivedanam. Sakhyam, friendship. This is the greatest relationship you can enjoy with Paramatma. See, this is one religion which says God is your friend. Otherwise, it is very tough, because with your friend you won't expect anything. See, when you have a friend, you just don't need a friend. You won't come with a list of requests. Make my son, daughter pass in that exam. For that, your daughter or son has to study. Right? By breaking coconuts, there is no use. The child has to study. Hard work. You work hard, you study, then you will pass. There is always a grace of God. But God will not make your child remember ortho, catechol, para, resorcinol and quinol. The child has to learn. So in the last 50 years, we have got so commercial that we think by breaking 108 coconuts, the child will pass. No. 108 coconuts, the person who is selling coconuts will live happily. His family will run very well. So hard work, our sincere efforts should be there. So when we meet the Lord as your friend. Then you won't have the intent to ask anything. You will always treat the Lord. That is how Gopikas, these behaved with Krishna. They always never asked for anything. They would always say, Krishna, can I give you butter? Can I hug you? Can I pinch you? They had nothing from Krishna. Pristine bhakti they had. Pure selfless love. You know, that is Krishna Bhakti Prajayate. That level we should attain. Where we don't ask anything from him. Which is Sakhyam, like how Gopikas things had. Atma Nivedanam, the last step in Bhakti. Atma Nivedanam. Where we submit the Jivatma, like how a Shabari waited for Rama to come. Like how Jatayu waited for a Rama to come. Like how Chintayanti Jagatsutim Parabrahma Swarupinim says Vishnu Puranam. See, Vishnu Purana by Parashara Maharshi gives one anecdote. When Krishna played flute, all the women folk in Vrindavanam wanted to go and listen to it and meet him and dance with him. Every lady managed to get out of the house, but there was one lady, while crossing her house, her mother-in-law and father-in-law were seated. I am talking about those days. So both the in-laws were seated. They asked, "Idhar ja rahe ho?" That is why I said in those days. You have to imagine, all this is totally impossible today. Mama, ingadi pore? Ille Krishna pullangudal vaashikran. Ava vaasichittu poran. Nee enna porudhu? Today the vice versa may happen.
I know.
So, but she asks, where are you going? He said, Krishna. Nothing doing. Stay where you are. You are not allowed to go there. As she stood holding the grills of her veranda, she listened to the beautiful mellifluous music that emanated from Krishna's flute. Yadavanaya Vrindavana Volu Venunadava Madutire Namayadavanaya Vrindavana Volu Venunadava Harivenunandavana Malarda Mamalare Manamuhanda Narumaname Manamalaindu Magarandam Tanai Nadi Varum Pannuhanda Karumandenum Tinkulale Kulanisaye Arareri Nadamadu Arase Yennuire Unpugal Yattanai Ketalum. Look at the Tamil words. Arivenunandavana malarda mamalare Manamuhanda narumaname Manamalaindu magarandam tanai nadi varum Pannuhanda karumandenum Tingulale Kulanisaye Araveri Nadamadu Arase Yennuire Unpugal Yattanai. Venuganam is one of the most beautiful sounds that came. This lady, when she listened to the beautiful melodious music of Krishna, it seems she was on cloud 9. She was so elated, so happy. As she experienced bliss, the punyam that she had accrued in this and her previous janmas got exhausted. Because when you enjoy pleasure, punyam will go. Because of punyam only you are enjoying pleasure, right? Correct? So as you enjoy, the punyam account will come down. But she felt so bad. Arey, Kanhaiya idhar hai. I am not able to go and relish the music of Krishna. She felt so bad. Because she felt sad, bad, her papam got exhausted. See, when you feel sad or you are going through sorrow, it means it is because of your sins. Since she had sins, she experienced sorrow. Because she experienced sorrow, the sins came down. Because she experienced pleasure because of the Venuganam, her punyam came down. Both punyam and papam reached zero. When the account is nil balance, she got moksha. Chintayanti jagatsutim parabrahma swarupini. She held the grills. She felt sad, papam went away. She felt happy, punyam went away. That very second she got moksha. Atma nivedanam. She submitted her Atma. So what are the 9 lakshanas for bhakti? Shravanam, like Prahlada. Kirtanam, like all our bhaktimans. Vishnoho smaranam, thinking of the Lord like Bhishma. Pada sevanam, like what Krishna did to the Brahmanas. Archanam, like how we do Archana in temples. Vandanam, like how Arjuna did to Narayanastram. Dasyam, like Vibhishana did. Sakhyam, like Gopika Stris did. Atmanivedanam, like Chintayanti did. Iti pumsar pidar Vishnu bhaktische navalakshana. These are the 9 lakshanas of bhakti as explained by Prahlada to his father Hiranyakashipu, as elucidated by Shukabrahmam to Parikshit in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is different from the Bhakti Yogam told by Krishna to Arjuna in the 7th to the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That is Bhakti Yogam, which is Upasana or Sadhana. This is Bhakti, which is a catalyst leading to Bhakti Yogam. These are the 9 lakshanas of Bhakti, which says Prahlada. That I have been given 1 hour and 30 minutes. I told in 1 hour and 31 minutes. I have exceeded by 1 minute. Savitarthika Simhaya Kalyana Gurusharini Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha. This is my 3rd time in this temple. I am extremely indebted. Last year, in the month of June, July, I had to first come to Merrillville and perform. But at that point in time, because of the pandemic, there was a shortage of staff at the US Embassy in India. So whichever way we worked, the visa couldn't get processed. But I'm so thankful to the astikas and the volunteers of this beautiful temple for having called me again, and in particular to Sri Arun for being such a source of inspiration and being such a wonderful human being and an astika and called me here. I'm extremely thankful to him, to the board members and committee members of this wonderful temple, to the priests of this temple, to the astikas who have gathered on a Sunday morning, and of course to my hosting family, Sriman Narayanan Tirumalai and his family, for hosting me. I've been speaking in Chicago at the Lemon Temple for the last 6 days on Srimad Bhagavata Mahapuranam in English, 2 hours. It's a paid event and we have close to 250 members on weekdays. And today is the last day. Between 3:30 and 5:30 I will be concluding with Rukmini Kalyanam, Rukmini's marriage to Krishna. 3:30 to 5:30, the last day, 7th day today. From tomorrow evening, for a series of 7 days, I am doing Bhagavata Saptaham in English at Frisco in Dallas. So it's been today is my 35th continuous lecture in the US. So I've been traveling to 8 cities, 4 red-eye flights. So across the US, I was a bit worried because after the pandemic, I'm coming. Before pandemic, I've come. After the pandemic, viewing and listening patterns have changed. People are happy listening, keeping their video off and on Zoom. So coming live, I don't know how many, and that too weekdays in the US, because even festivals are celebrated on weekends. So what about weekdays, I thought. In places like Bay Area, Seattle Bay Area, 850 astikas every day. So people are thronging to listen. That much I could see it. So, for A.R. Rahman events, Anirudh events, Alex Babu, Snake Babu, all their events, people will come. But for Upanyasams, if people are coming, because you get to see nothing glamorous on stage. See, there you can do Marugelara, you can bend that mic, do all that. Here, they'll give me one fixed mic. And I come with a stubble. They all come like heroes. They all look also better. So they come with a jacket. They will throw that jacket. 4 women will catch. They will give it back. I can't throw my Angavastram. Right. Uttariyam, if I throw it, is not good. Because it is Achara Vastram. I can't throw. But all of you are listening. So that proves that with the grace of our Acharyas, you all have brought bhakti to this land. As you have come from India, you have just not carried your luggage, you have brought bhakti. May this bhakti, the kalachara that you have brought, continue and percolate to your generations ahead. 100 years later also in the same temple, Bhagavatam should happen. That should be, because people construct temples. See, constructing temples with a few $1 million you can construct. But to keep a temple alive, you need culture. See, temple is just not mortar, wood, bricks. It is about how much of vibrations you give to that temple. Constructing temple is one task. But how do you bring life to that temple? One is through music, second is through dance, and third is through lectures. That is what will keep the temple, our temple, our places of worship are not silent places, come keep quiet, dhyan karo jao. This is not meditation center. It has to be live. People have to do bhajan, they have to do Nava Sankirtanam, recitation, listening. It's a beautiful cultural potpourri that we should see. And such events can happen only when astikas like you come together. I'm so happy to see such bright faces, extremely indebted. Thanks, Arun. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashalini Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaskar. Thank you. To conclude. Thank you.
I'll give you a quick word of thanks. I certainly did not know Bhakti is different from Bhakti Yoga, so I learned something. And it is true that there is a saying, Bhagavata Seva is Bhagavad Seva. Inviting such Bhagavatars, such learned people increases the divinity in our place. So we are all gifted. I know there is standing room only when we see him in India, but we are gifted to see him at close quarters. And so thankful to coming and purifying this place and giving us, charging our batteries up like you're charging your cell phone every morning with some divinity. At this time, I will call our chairman and Anjali ji and Shakuntala ji for the Sambhavana. And I know you do not like Conrades, but we'll force you with that again.
Om Brahma Atman Vadasujada Tadagamayata Samatmana Bhajyayeti Atmanatman Nichamandrayata Tasmai Bhamjamagam Brasya Prasad Mahaboham Yoveda Svak Prokto Vedanteja Pradishtitaha Tasya Prakudilinasya Yadparasya Maheswaraha.
So we all say Ram Ram Janaki Ka Smaranam Jai Jai Ram Ram.